Why are the Muslim states silent on the Chinese in inhuman torture on Uighur Muslims? One of the great crimes of 21st century is being committed in front of our eyes. We see it, yet we don't register it. The Chinese Communist Party is reverting to type and reviving the totalitarian fear of Mao era. To bring down numbers of largely Muslim Uighurs of Xinjiang, the China scholars Adrian Zenz reports, the communists are forcing women to be sterilized or fitted with contraceptive devices. If they resist, the state sends them to join 1 million Uyghur people and other Muslim minority detained in what the state defines as re-education camps. A BBC investigation found that China was separating children from their families so they grew up without understanding Islam. It may be a cheap point, but it remains true that if a Western country were to display 1/10, 100, or 1,000 of the brutality that China is inflicting on Muslims, the global left would be burning with outrage. If you want to be charitable, its silence can be partly explained by logistical difficulties. Reporters are free to cover China's suppression of democracy in Hong Kong, for the time being at any rate, but cannot get near Xinjiang without taking extraordinary risks. With no footage of the suffering, millions can suffer unnoticed in the dark. But the main reason why Muslims suffer in silence is that the Muslim majority countries that raged against Rushdie, Gilans Boston, and Charlie Hebdo have decided to stay silent. They use the idea of Muslim solidarity only when it suits them. In July 2019, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Algeria, and other Muslim majority states that poses as defender of the faith helped to block a Western motion at United Nations, calling for China to allow independent international observers into Xinjiang region. Iran issues occasional criticism but wants Chinese support so it struggle against the Trump administration and to keep its complaint coded. Their hypocrisy is almost funny if you take their humor black. Iran, Egypt, Syria, and dozens of other countries that could not tolerate a magical realism novel can live with the mass sterilization of Muslim women. They will give concentration camps a conniving wink of approval, but draw the line at cartoons in Danish newspaper. Many have been bought off. China is now a more effective and influential voice at the United Nations because so many countries are benefiting from millions of dollars in Chinese investments through its Belt and Road Infrastructure program. As Norway found in 2010 and Australia found this year when it asked for an international inquiry into origins of COVID-19, those who blaspheme against China face cyber attacks and sanctions. Better to take the rewards and avoid the punishments. Following the money, however, can lead you into a dead end. In a survey of China's growing power, The Economist noted it was making the world safe for autocracy. Recap Tayyip Erdogan, for example, keeps his conservative base happy in Turkey by posing as an ostentiously Islamic strongman. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, for example, keeps his conservative base happy in Turkey by posing as an ostentiously Islamic strongman. But he is not likely to condemn the abuse of Muslims by China when he is just as keen on abusing the rights of his domestic opponents. The Chinese world order appeals to the Freemasonry of publicity, shy sadists. You say nothing about what we do to our subject people, and we will say nothing about what you do to yours. The idea of the sacred is quite simply one of the most conservative notions in any culture, because it seeks to turn other ideas, uncertainty, progress, change, into crimes, said Salman Rushdie when he was in fear of his life in 1990. He was talking about conservative Islam. China is now turning criticism of its disastrous record on incubating the COVID-19 virus and its atrocities against its Muslim minorities into crimes, and the people who should be shouting the loudest are bowing their heads in reverential silence.